Scene script. Have you ever wondered about the life of a high-profile criminal in a maximum security prison? To uncover that, we first need to talk about the capture of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman. Now, El Chapo wasn't just any criminal. He was the kingpin of the notorious Sinaloa cartel, a name synonymous with drug trafficking, organized crime, and violence on a scale that's hard to imagine. This cartel was not just a criminal organization, it was a pervasive, influential entity that operated with an iron grip on its territories. And at the helm of this operation was El Chapo, a man feared and respected in equal measure. El Chapo's reign, however, wasn't destined to last. His capture was the culmination of extensive and relentless efforts by the authorities. It was a high-stakes operation, one that finally paid off when the elusive kingpin was arrested in 2016. It was a significant victory, a step towards dismantling the powerful drug empire he had built. Following his arrest, El Chapo was extradited to the United States, marking the beginning of a new chapter in his life. He was charged with numerous counts, including drug trafficking, murder, money laundering, and organized crime. The charges were severe, reflecting the magnitude of his crimes and the devastation he had caused. With the extensive evidence against him, El Chapo was found guilty. His conviction led to a life sentence, a far cry from his days of power and influence. He was to serve his sentence at the USP Florence ADMAX in Colorado, a prison known for its stringent security measures and harsh conditions. With El Chapo's arrest, the stage was set for a life behind bars, drastically different from his previous existence. After his trial, El Chapo was sent to USP Florence ADMAX in Colorado, considered the most secure prison in the world. This isn't just any prison, it's a fortress of solitude, designed to keep the worst of the worst away from the world. ADMAX, short for Administrative Maximum, is a place where freedom is a distant memory, and solitude is the only companion. It's a place that redefines the meaning of confinement, where prisoners are kept in small concrete cells for 23 hours a day. Each cell, measuring a mere 7 by 12 feet, is a world in itself, offering only the bare essentials. A bed, a desk, and a stool, all made of concrete, and a narrow window that allows in only a sliver of natural light. The items allowed are strictly limited, with each one scrutinized to prevent any possible self-harm. Personal possessions are few, and inmates are allowed only 4 books or magazines at a time. Even the showers are timed to last just 3 minutes, with hot water only available 3 times a week. The 1 hour of freedom that the inmates receive is hardly a reprieve. They are led to a small concrete courtyard enclosed by towering walls that block out the horizon. The sky is their only view of the outside world, a cruel reminder of the freedom they once had. And El Chapo is not alone in this grim abode. ADMAX is home to other high-profile criminals, each one more notorious than the last. Terrorists, serial killers, and other cartel leaders all share these cold concrete walls, each one confined to their own solitary world. The prison is a stark contrast to El Chapo's former life, where he was the king of a drug empire, feared and respected in equal measure. Now he shares the same fate as those he once ruled over, confined to a small cell with only his thoughts for company. El Chapo's life had taken a complete 180-degree turn, from ruling a cartel empire to being confined in a small cell. But such is the fate of those who choose a life of crime, a fate that ADMAX serves as a chilling reminder of. Life in prison is tough for anyone, but El Chapo has made it known that his conditions are particularly harsh. The notorious Joaquin El Chapo Guzman, once head of the formidable Sinaloa cartel, traded his life of power and control for a small concrete cell in USP Florence ADMAX, one of the most secure prisons in the world. His complaints, however, go beyond the expected hardships of incarceration. El Chapo has voiced grievances about the severe lack of sun exposure, a stark contrast to his life in sunny Mexico. For 23 grueling hours a day, he's confined within the cold, drab walls of his cell, with only 1 solitary hour permitted in a small outdoor courtyard. This minuscule window of outdoor time isn't enough to satisfy his yearning for the warmth of the sun on his skin, a simple pleasure most of us take for granted. Furthermore, El Chapo has expressed discontent with the treatment he receives from the prison guards. The specifics of these complaints remain undisclosed, but, given his high-profile status and the severity of his crimes, it's conceivable that he's not exactly a favorite among the staff. There may be other grievances yet to be made public, but these give us an insight into the stark reality of El Chapo's life behind bars. Despite his complaints, El Chapo's life in prison continues under strict surveillance and confinement. So, what does all this mean for El Chapo and his life in maximum security prison? Well, to put it bluntly, it's a world turned upside down. El Chapo, once a feared and powerful cartel boss, now spends his days confined within the cold, unyielding concrete walls of the ADMAX prison. His lifestyle has been drastically altered, and the man who once commanded an empire now lives in a small cell, devoid of the luxuries and power he once held. Remember, this is a man who used to operate on his own terms, living lavishly and surrounded by an army of loyal followers. Now, he is stripped of his power, reduced to the existence of an ordinary prisoner, albeit one under extraordinary security measures. And it's not just the physical environment that's changed. His every move is monitored, his freedoms curtailed. The omnipresent guards are a constant reminder of his lost power. It's a stark contrast to the days when he ruled with an iron fist, instilling fear in the hearts of many. El Chapo's complaints about the lack of sun exposure and harsh treatment from guards give us a glimpse into the harsh realities of life in a maximum security prison. These complaints, however, are unlikely to elicit much sympathy, given the severity of his crimes and the countless lives affected by his actions. It's clear that El Chapo's life has changed dramatically, a far cry from the power and freedom he once enjoyed. This is the reality of a high-profile criminal's life in a maximum security prison.